So after months of sweat, arguments, and probably enough bad smells in Independence Hall to kill a horse, the framers finally had the Constitution. But here's the thing. A bunch of dudes signing it in Philadelphia didn't magically make it law. The people had to agree with it. And that's what Article 7 does. It's the closing instructions for the Constitution, telling everyone how this brand new government would actually get approved. In short, it's short, it's simple, but without it, the Constitution would have just been another piece of paper collecting dust somewhere in some hallowed halls. Welcome to our republic.
When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political band,
sailors and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the founding fathers. Not one small step for man.
Those three hallowed words reverently dictate what you ought to be, what you can be, what you will be.
we pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
So Article 7. Article 7 sets the rules, right? Congress would go into effect, the Constitution would go into effect once 9 out of the 13 states ratified it. That number mattered. Under the Articles of Confederation, you needed unanimous consent to change anything. All 13 states. That rule had paralyzed the country. And the framers knew if they kept it, Rhode Island, which loved to say no to everything, could hold the entire Union hostage. So instead, they said 9 states is enough. And that was a gamble. It meant that the Constitution might go into effect even if some states refused, and the country could have ended up split. But the framers were betting that momentum and peer pressure would eventually bring everyone on board. Another twist, the ratification wouldn't be decided by state legislatures. It would be decided by special state conventions called just for the purpose of voting on the Constitution. Why? Because the framers didn't trust the state politicians to give up power. Legislators had gotten very comfortable under the Articles of Confederation. By sending it to the convention of delegates chosen by the people, they gave the decision a direct stamp of popular legitimacy. Let's just say that. This was revolutionary. The people, not just the politicians, would decide whether the new system lived or died. And then let's finally talk about what's called attestation, the signatures. The article closes with the attestation or the attestation clause. The framers themselves signing the document on September 17th, 1787. George Washington, as president of the convention, signed first. 39 delegates in total put their names down. And some refused. George Mason, Edmund Randolph, and Eldridge Gerry wouldn't sign because they thought the Constitution gave too much power to central government and lacked a Bill of Rights. Those signatures mattered. They weren't just names, they were political firepower. Washington's endorsement especially gave the Constitution the credibility it badly needed. And without him, ratification might have failed. And why Article 7 matters. Article 7 turned the Constitution from a draft into a real governing framework. It set the rules of the ratification game, lowered the threshold from impossible to achievable, and it gave the process legitimacy by involving the people. And it worked. By June 1788, New Hampshire had become the 19th state to ratify, putting the Constitution, the 9th state, sorry, not the 19th, the 9th state to ratify, putting the Constitution into effect. Eventually, all 13 states came on board. Though some, like we've mentioned, Rhode Island, had to be dragged kicking and screaming. Article 7 might not sound exciting, but it is the finish line of the Constitution, where the parchment became power, where theory became government. And without it, the Constitution would have stayed locked in Philadelphia, and America would have fallen apart even before it began. I know these episodes on the articles were really short, just a lot of information at once. I'm encouraging you to go and study and read the Constitution. Read the Constitution every year. If you have a family, read the Constitution to your kids. Teach them what it means. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen. Remember, history isn't boring, especially when one short article forced 13 quarrelsome states to actually sign the dotted line and give the longest running republic in the world its birth. See you next time.